Lead like live at Future Proof in Miami. I'm here with John Love of USCF Investments. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, so I wanted to get right into it and ask you about oil with the war going on in Iran and the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, so this is an incredible time. There's only been a handful of events like this since futures started trading in 1983 on oil, and you really can pretty much count on one hand. This one's very unique. If you look back to maybe the most consequential one before this is 1973, the Arab oil crisis. Prices went up 300%, but only 7% of the world's oil supply was affected at that time. Right now, we're looking at the Strait of Hormuz. As most people are probably aware,
Yeah.
20% of oil is at risk. 6% has already been shut in. Now, that may not last as long. That's really the key question right now: is what is the duration of this? Today, March 10th, we're seeing from President Trump some signals that might be shorter than expected. There's a lot of pressures, not just from the market,
Yeah.
who watches that closely, but other countries, the Gulf countries. I mean, they're hurting. They're hurting from shut-in production. Their customers are hurting. Asia, Japan. The U.S. is not hurting as much because we have abundant supply of oil, but we don't produce all the oil we need. The real issue right now is getting oil to the customers who need it, or getting the right barrels to the right people. So while there's enough oil in the world, it's not getting there. And then what can get out, people are competing to get. So it's really it's just an incredible time, and the price action we've seen, from a frankly a fairly tepid response when the war broke out to a panic on Sunday night and Monday, with oil was hitting 120, equity markets tanking, overseas markets, down quite a bit, and then Monday, the seeming recovery. The two things that are happening right now is, yes, reassuring words from not just President Trump but also other G7 leaders talking about a coordinated release. I think the market is probably underpricing the risk a bit, at least in the outright futures price. But if this really does end in a matter of days, then we should see some improvements. If it goes on for weeks and weeks, or it gets worse, or Iran does not comply, and that's the real question. It takes two to tango here. So we've got President Trump on the one side, G7 leaders trying to do some relief, but you also have to have Iran say, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
sure, we'll stop. So it's going to be interesting how things develop from here.
Yeah, there was a conversation last night where a couple of advisors were discussing or stating that this might be the exact playbook as the Iraq war.
I hope that's not the case. I mean, the administration's been clear they don't want a quagmire. It's not clear that they went into it with a plan to avoid that happening. But I think, if you don't put boots on the ground, it is, much easier to pull back our forces. The question again is, with Iran, they have this. We've depleted a lot of their, munitions, a lot of their weaponry, but their drone capability is still very high. Almost guerrilla-like tactics. They have a lot of small boats. We destroyed, the big ships,
Yeah.
but the small boats they can load with explosives and go after tankers if they want to do that. I think at some point, the regime has been pragmatic in the past. However, there's been a massive turnover at the top. They've got a lot of redundancy in the regime. Yet, when you take out 40 leaders at the beginning and more along the way, it's like who's in charge?
Yeah.
And what are they going to do? The new Ayatollah. Not only did he lose his father, they appointed the son.
Okay.
Lost his mother, lost his wife, and lost his son. So, I'm not sure that that's the person who's necessarily wants to come back to the table. And we'll see how this develops.
Yeah. So if Trump does call off the war, if the war does end, how long will the price?
And then you had one of that up to that time, and actually I think until 2020, the biggest single day drop, 33%, just from us invading. And by no means the war was just starting. The bombing campaign just started, but the market looking ahead said, okay, the resolution is being delivered. Now it was choppy for the next 2 months, extremely short war. So, it took a little while for things to, eke out, or, things to normalize. But I think I kind of would expect something here. We saw the same thing yesterday when Trump spoke. Oil had been very high. It came down. It's been choppy. If it goes back up, if things get worse, and then he ends it and Iran agrees, then I think you see a similar kind of, probably a quick drop there. So I think the risk at the moment is still to the upside, but we'll see what happens when. I mean, things can change on a dime.
Yeah.
We've seen it with tariffs. We've seen it with all kinds of policies. When even when Trump seems to be in a corner by saying, I'm only accepting unconditional surrender, or just say something different and it'll change. So I think it'll. I think the price will change quickly. It will take time for supply to, normalize and all of that. So there'll be some choppiness from there.
And are there any other risks geopolitically that investors should be watching?
Well, if countries draw down their strategic petroleum reserves, I mean, probably not. I think right now, people are looking for stability. I think that's the message that the administration is getting. But he always worries about something like China and Taiwan because they have built up their strategic reserve over the last year. That has been one thing that's supporting markets and actually kept barrels, people competing for barrels at the front of the futures curve. That maybe that's opportunistic for them. We'll see what happens with, is there terrorism? Is there other things like that? We'll see. But I think that right now is the flashpoint. Then, of course, there's Ukraine and Russia, and that continues to go on, although that's a much smaller effect in that, at that time, that's 3% of the world's supply. And it was really rerouting of barrels, which we're using right now, or, temporarily at least lifting sanctions. So those barrels can flow. So there's a number of mitigation measures going on, but ultimately we still have maybe 15 to 20 million barrels that could be off the market for a while if this gets worse.
Now, where can investors go to learn more about you? Advisors and investors go to.
USCFinvestments.com. Got a lot of material on just commodities in general, a number of different funds, ways to play the commodity space, and a Substack. And you'll find all of that at our website, USCFinvestments.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.